It is May 20th, 2021, and this is an update video on the murder of Timothy Revell Reed in Barranquilla, Colombia. Follow along.
You're watching DC-born Rob, erasing borders. And now, the news.
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is you're located, and thanks for watching. My name is Rob Christian, also known as DC-born Rob, or DC Rob, or Rob, whatever you want to call me. In this video, I'm going to go over a few different things. Number one, the fact that I have communicated with Timothy's ex-girlfriend, the girlfriend that he had been in a relationship with for 2 years prior to the 3 months with the last young lady. Also, the family is taking care of the documents. They're sending them back and forth now as far as the privacy docs and the docs for the next of kin. Also, the GoFundMe link is below, and it will also be in the description if you want to support the family, if you want to assist them with reward money, attorney money, and investigator money. And we're going to discuss that later, how they're going to keep you up to speed with what's going on with the investigation. We're also going to discuss in this video, basically, was it a setup? Because there's a few articles I'm going to read to you that may give you a different perspective than the norm when it first came out. It was a robbery. It was a gold chain. It was robbery. It was a gold chain. It was a robbery for a gold chain. Took a cell phone, took his shoes. We're going to discuss that a little bit. I'm going to run through those stories quickly and then wonder, is there a difference between this murder and the way it's been handled in the public versus others? And you'll know what I mean when I show you. Also, just an alert, I'm going to be on a YouTube Live with the family Saturday morning at 11 a.m. with Tamara Johnson Shealy in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, keep in mind, we need to put the pressure on, and that's one of the main reasons for this video also, is to put the pressure on Warnock and Ossoff. They need to get on the ball. They need to do their job. They need to do some work and protect their constituency. So let's see if we can't put some pressure on them. Follow us on Saturday morning and see if we can't put even more pressure on them. To remind you of the spirit of Timothy Revell Reed, check this out.
Greetings, my name is Q, and I'm the owner and founder of Q Spicy Ribs and Fish. I've been here in Georgia since 1994. I'm a Morehouse ITC grad. And I started cooking back in pretty much all my life. My grandmother and grandfather in the country of Oklahoma basically taught me how to cook. But I moved to Atlanta and got a niche for barbecuing, and some of my friends liked my food and they said I should, start selling my food. Our chicken breasts cooked perfectly. So back in 2005, I started kind of catering just for fun at parties and everything. We cater large and small events. I can be reached at 678-374-1899. And we're looking to cater your party tonight.
Okay, stay with me, guys. A little bit later, I am going to go over my transcript of my conversation with Timothy Revell Reed's ex-girlfriend, whom he had been with for 2 months. So stay tuned for that. And as I jump into this first story, I want to say, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, do your job. Do your job. Represent your people. Represent your people when they need you. Okay. First story I want to jump into is this one says they kill an American with 2 bullets in the Las Palmas neighborhood. You've seen some of these stories before, maybe not these. And I'm bringing these up for a reason. Okay. It says at noon on Tuesday, a man of American nationality was murdered in the Las Palmas neighborhood, who was hit by 2 bullets in the head on a motorcycle when he was walking through the sector. The Barranquilla police commander indicated that the 53-year-old victim named Timothy Revell Reed, a native of the city of Georgia, United States, was at the scene of his sentimental partner, whom he had met 6 months ago through network, social, and 3 to be in a city of Barranquilla. Okay, there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. First of all, he's 52. He's 52 years old. And he had been with this young lady for 3 months. He met her on January 17th, according to her. Okay. This says 2 men who were mobilizing on a red motorcycle shot him twice on 35A Street with 8A race at a time when the mortal victim went out on the street for a few moments, while his sentimental partner stayed inside the house of 2 floors that they had recently bought. According to another witness testimony, he indicated that the attack occurred when the mortal victim was under a tree, where he was approached by armed men who were mobilizing on the motorcycle, who, without a word, pulled the trigger, causing the death of the place at the scene. Okay, remember, some of these interpretations are not literal, but I want you to get that last sentence. Who, without a word, pulled the trigger, causing his death in the place by the scene. Okay, who, without a word, pulled the trigger. Nothing about give me your gold chain, give me your phone, none of that. Next story. Okay, Timothy Revell Reed, a 54-year-old American citizen, was murdered this Tuesday morning in the Las Palmas neighborhood. You've heard all of this. 2 men who were mobilizing on a red motorcycle shot him twice. The man was lying in the middle of the public thoroughfare. As revealed by General Diego Rosero, commander of the Barranquilla Metro Police, the foreigner had bought a house weeks ago for $690 million. We are verifying what happened. He was here since December. He met on social networks with a Colombian woman, said the high official. The official added that together with his partner a few weeks ago, they had acquired a property. They made a payment of 690 million pesos. The police are investigating the homicide and looking for those responsible for the bullet attack. They do not know if any item of value was stolen from the American at the scene. This is the same police that said it was. So they're saying they do not know if any item of value was stolen from the American at the scene. Okay. Next story says, of several bullet wounds produced with a firearm, hitmen assassinated a man in Barranquilla. At around 11:51 a.m. this Tuesday, hitmen assassinated a man of American nationality who went by the name of Timothy Revell Reed with several bullet wounds, and gives the address in Las Palmas neighborhood of Barranquilla. The attack occurred apparently when the mortal victim was under a tree, where he was approached by armed men who were mobilizing on motorcycles, who without a word pulled the trigger, causing his death at the scene. Remember that. Who without a word pulled the trigger, causing his death at the scene. This is the second time. 2 versions of the crime of the American in Las Palmas neighborhood. The crime of the American Timothy Revell Reed, and they even spell his name wrong, 52, at least they got his age correct, gives the address in Las Palmas neighborhood of south side of Barranquilla. It's still the subject of investigation by police intelligence personnel. The first hypothesis of the homicide was an alleged case of armed robbery, but this version has ceased to gain strength as several eyewitnesses assured that there was no struggle or attempted robbery. I'm going to read it again. The first hypothesis of this homicide was an alleged case of armed robbery, but this version has ceased to gain strength as several eyewitnesses assured that there was no struggle or attempted robbery. I was sitting, and this is a quote from an eyewitness, I was sitting on the terrace of my house when 2 men arrived on a red motorcycle and started shooting like crazy. That version of the theft of the gold chain is not true because I was there and I did not see any of that, said a woman under anonymity. Of the mortal victim, it was learned that since December he had arrived from Georgia after having met a woman who was his sentimental partner. But I'm going to read that last one again. This is a quote from an eyewitness. I was sitting on the terrace of my house when 2 men arrived on a red motorcycle and started shooting like crazy. That version of the theft of the gold chain is not true because I was there and I did not see any of that, said a woman under anonymity. Do you need more? That should be enough. But I'm going to jump from there straight to some stories of other Americans. Okay, here's an American who fell off the balcony of his building. The general was there, the commander in Barranquilla, explains this Wednesday morning. Officials from the United States Embassy in Colombia accompanied John Winkle Zachary's relatives. So they've already accompanied his relatives. It shows the high official clarified that members of the embassy initially identified themselves. No words to say. Okay, he also mentioned that bilingual police officers from the tourism police had accompanied the family. So they put some work into it, okay? And I'm just going to run through these other stories right quick. New Yorker killed. This is from 2015. New Yorker killed in botched armed robbery after leaving Medellin, Colombia hotel. See if this sounds familiar for you. Bogota, Colombia, an American tourist was shot to death during an apparent robbery attempt after leaving his hotel in the wealthy enclave of Medellin, authorities said Saturday. Police identified the victim as John Mariani, 65, of New York. And by the way, this is the New York Daily News, okay? And I'm bringing this up because why is the current murder not in the United States papers? Why is it not here? Why are they not covering this? Why are our representatives acting blind, acting deaf, acting dumb? Well, I don't know if they're acting. I'm not big on politicians. I know they need effort to move. So I need you to reach out. The information is in the bottom. There's in the description below. There's also a link. One of my viewers, sent me this link where you can click on it and it'll take you to this person's Twitter page, that person's Twitter page, this person, and it'll automatically populate. It makes it so much easier for you. Please do this. I'm asking for your help. Please do this. Okay, but I'm bringing this up because the police offered a $16,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the perpetrators. Okay, again, and here's a picture of them, by the way. This is in 2015. They say, and it's the same story too, he was getting out of a taxi. A man walked up on him with a gun. Him and this gentleman and his friend were getting out of a taxi in Medellin, and someone pulled up on a motorcycle. They asked him for his money, but they shot him and killed him. Same scenario, okay? But this is in the New York Daily News. A brother of a Long Island man gunned down while vacationing in Colombia this Saturday. His family is struggling to get details as to why he was killed because the family didn't buy the robbery deal either. They didn't buy it either. But I'm bringing this up for a reason, and you figure it out. Okay, what's the difference? Fatal shooting of an Atlantic County man in Colombia leaves unanswered questions. Okay, here's another one. Questions remain after a group of friends carefree on vacation ended up with one of them dead. Medellin, Colombia. This is the press of Atlantic City. American press. Long Island tourist shot and killed while on a trip to Colombia. This is ABC News, New York 7. Bogota, Colombia, an American tourist was shot to death during an apparent robbery after leaving his hotel in a wealthy enclave of Medellin, Colombia, authorities said. Same gentleman, okay? And I'm bringing this up because why is the story not in the papers here? Why is it not on our online media? Okay, here's another one, the Daily Mail, and this one's in the UK. American tourist shot dead in botched robbery in Colombia after his taxi was intercepted by gunmen. Same thing. News.com, AU, American tourist shot in the head in Medellin, Colombia, all outside of Colombia. Okay, another one, the NewJersey.com, NJ.com, New York man shot and killed in Colombia. Authorities say it may have been a targeted hit. This is a totally separate one. 29-year-old man from Atlantic City was shot and killed in a possible targeted hit. They left his stuff be. So they're saying they rule out robbery because his cell phone and his wallet was laying right next to him. Now, I'm bringing all this up because I'm saying to you, why is this case not getting the coverage that it deserves? Why are we left to, as YouTubers, to do something about it? I mean, why do I have to call? Why do you have to call? Why do I have to tweet? Why do you have to tweet? Why do we have to email? So much. By the way, I do have a reporter from the Associated Press that has asked some questions, and he's going to try to reach out and get some information for us. Hopefully this gentleman comes through for us, and I have faith in him. So hopefully he'll come through for us. But why is this story not being picked up? Look for us Saturday morning. Saturday morning, the link it will be below right here. You can click on it, set a reminder so it pops up and reminds you for Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to be on our show in Atlanta, Georgia, myself and the family. Now, keep in mind, Warnock is actually running again next year. He's only senator for 2 years. I don't know if you knew that. He doesn't have 4 or 6 years. He won last year, and he's got to run again next year, okay? So Let's put some fire under him. That's what they need for encouragement. Fire. You're the fire, especially if you're in Georgia. Do me a favor, follow that link and click that link. But why are we left to have to do this ourselves? It's how much, man, I have a hard time sleeping sometimes. I wake up to this, ask my girlfriend, I'm always asking her questions, and we go on back and forth, and she's, what's going on here? What's going on there? How's the family? I mean, we just go back and forth constantly. It's a lot of stuff. And then I'll get emails from O, from K, or from G with information. And a bunch of you guys are sending it to me also via WhatsApp. I'm getting emails. I'm getting comments below. Do me a favor. I believe this is going to come to a head, but I believe it's going to come to a head because of the assistance from you. The assistance from you. So thank you to everybody who has done so much and helped out, because I seriously, I could not be sitting here now if it were not for your assistance. So I want to say thank you. So on that note, I did speak to the ex-girlfriend. There's a few takeaways. Let's see if I can pull this off. And I'm not going to show it and not going to tell you her name. I'm not going to offer any personal information about this young lady. I just want to give you the basics of our communication, okay? According to her, she had dated Timothy for almost 2 years. He had been communicating and been traveling to Colombia for the past year and a half to meet with this young lady. He first went to Panama. I think first he was looking for a location there. Then he went to Colombia. He went to all the places. He checked out how they prepared their food and tasting different food and getting better insight on opening a restaurant. That was his goal, to open a restaurant there. But he was dating this young lady, and evidently it was serious. And I say evidently because he had actually already, according to her, he had gone through the K1 process with her last August. Okay, so they were pretty serious. She says that they broke up because he wanted to move to Barranquilla to open up a business. She has a couple of kids. She said she could not just jump on it. She said he was impulsive, and we've heard that from a couple of different ways. He knew what he wanted, and he wanted it now. So he wanted to move to Barranquilla, and she says, hey, if you're going to move to Barranquilla, you need to move to a good neighborhood. I'm not moving to a bad neighborhood with my kids. Okay, so her kids' safety was number one. So she didn't want to move, and she didn't want to move that quickly. She said, I'll come in January, because then it takes time to get the kids out of school and start them again in another city. So from her town, and again, I'm not going to say the town, but she wanted to wait a month. Well, evidently somewhere in that, he got mad at her and just left. And that was towards the end of December. So a week later, after they had that conversation and that fight, then he moved to Barranquilla, Colombia. Guess he was online. I don't know how long he was online, but he met the other young lady in person on the 17th. This young lady, the ex-girlfriend, says that she last spoke with him on the 20th. So she spoke to him 3 days after he met that other young lady. But there's a bunch of I'm going to pick and choose what I say, so this may jump cut a little bit, but okay, according to her, she said that in the news they say that they were married, but he looked, and again, this is not literal when I interpret this, and he looked for her, it was out of spite. In other words, he met this other girl, and it was out of spite that he started dating her. She was with him for 2 years. Let's see, she wanted to live with him first and see how things are going before even moving to the States too. So she wanted to see how he was with her kids and so on. I mean, all of her stuff made sense to me, but she says he was very hasty. He was always quick, and but she always told him calmly, just, we need to wait for these things to come together. She said she never liked Barranquilla because it was dangerous. And she told him if she goes to look for something good and not in the neighborhood where he was looking. So I asked, so were you going to get married? Did you want to live together first with the kids? I asked, so you think he got hurt when you didn't want to move? And she said, and keep in mind, some of these littles, I don't know why they changed he for she. it's so distracting in the mind when you know it's a woman, but it says he, or you know it's a man and it says she. It's frustrating. But anyway, he said to my children, but he came suddenly and he had told me anything was because he was doing the papers for me to go to the USA and get married there. Okay, he arrived in December and he wanted her to leave. And I'm kind of reading as not as if I'm her, but she says he wanted me to leave quickly. I told him I had to get the children's papers from school and I'm leaving in January. But we live for 3 months and we get married and you see everything is going well. In other words, let's see how things are going after a few months. But he had already started the K-1 visa process. And anybody that knows that, that's the fiance visa where you move someone to the United States and you have 90 days to get married. Hence the TV show 90 Day Fiance, which is one of my favorite shows. Okay, he was not, he's not 6 months old there in the States. I'm sorry, in Colombia. Came to Colombia not a year and a half ago and came to her town. And not for that woman, as they say. She wants to make sure that it's understood. In the papers, it says that he moved there for this sentimental partner, but it's not the young lady that he's with now, is what she's saying. He was a quiet man, and he was there to steal him. He would, if someone was there to steal from him, again, it's not the literal, that he would give anything, but 2 shots to the head, that's a lie. So she doesn't buy the gold chain because she says he would just give it to him. By the way, there's other stories too. People warned him, don't wear the gold chain. The young lady that he was living with, or his current property, she told him, according to her, this young lady, his ex, said, don't wear the chain. Friends told him, don't wear the chain. He wanted to wear the chain. Okay, she says they killed him for that house and in a dangerous neighborhood. If that woman knows of Barranquilla, she was told not to go out with that chain, but not even that did the crazy woman. She says if he gets my K-1 visa, I have all the photos, so she's got photocopies of this. But she says she erased it out of rage and hurt, and just because he threw away 2 years. But she says she has papers, and she took some pictures a long time ago. And I asked, were you going through the K-1 visa? And she said yes. As of last August, he filled it out. She says I sent videos, but I deleted everything. But in the mail, if I keep that, I guess she's got it somewhere. And I'm purposely skipping over a couple of things. She says that woman was not the one for him. She claims she had a photo of them holding up a civil union document. The family was supposed to hear this. I guess she's saying he was doing it for the family. I do not think so. She doesn't think that they were married. Remember, the current, or the young lady he had been with for 3 months, was his interpreter, so to speak. He didn't have a paid interpreter through all of these legal proceedings, through the notary, through all the contract signing. And again, I know there's been question about it because they say there's no contract. A couple of people have told me through interpreting it that they were talking about the tenants in the apartment. So keep that in mind. It may not have been, there's no contract. Here's, $200,000 or $190,000. It may not have been that. So we don't know. There's so many things we don't know. So many things we don't know. We don't know who took that picture of him from behind in that corner house. We know the house on the corner. Even if they took the picture, why did they put it on Facebook? Why did they put it on Facebook? And how did they get it from Facebook? How did they know it was on Facebook? She said her sister had. There's just so much to this. It's incredible. But I wanted to come to you and let you know that the wheels are still turning. Information is still coming. The family is still working with it. We're actually going to, I'm trying to find an interpreter. Well, I have an interpreter waiting to find when she's free. We're going to speak to a counselor that will let us know which steps need to be taken. What do we need? All the documents, all the family names, all the ages, and so on. And then she's going to recommend an attorney. I have an abundance of attorneys. Preferably, if anybody knows anyone else, preferably someone that speaks English also, because it's challenging enough to go through all of this. And you know how I'm reading this, things get lost in the translation. So again, I brought up the Associated Press. I brought up the link. Remember that link that helps you click and tweet here, tweet there, tweet there, tweet there. Kind of change the words a couple different ways if you can. Put an A in or a or a B, or just change something and change the period, whatever, because I'm told that Twitter may think it's spam if that many people start bombarding them with it. But John Ossoff, Raphael Warnock, do your job. Do your job and represent your constituents. You have a gentleman who was just left Atlanta, sold his house there to move for a better life. And I've had some people comment about, why would he move to another people? There you go with your passport and call it something else. I'm one of them passport people. That's the best thing this country's ever given me, is my passport. So don't try to shame anybody who's got a passport. Let me tell you something. It changes who you are for the better. If you stay in your neighborhood, that's all you know. If you stay in your city, that's all you know. If you stay in your state, that's all you know. And then what you're told, via social media and TV, that's all you know. You need to get out of this country and learn that we are treated differently in other countries. American and Black American, we are treated differently. I think I'm treated better outside of this country than I am here. Outside of Texas, Texas is pretty cool. Texas treats me well. That's why I've been here so long. But I can't go to DC and get this feeling. No, I can't go anywhere in the Northeast and get this feeling. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know where we are. The family is still pursuing information. The utmost question, of course, is whose name is on the property? Whose name is on the property? So we're working at that. That's the biggest part. There is a sense of urgency now. We cannot let this, no one else can get that property. That just cannot happen. That cannot happen. We cannot allow that to happen. We cannot allow that to happen. Okay. I don't know how many different ways to say this. This cannot be an option. No one else can get this property. That is his kids. That is his families. He sold his house to move down there. This cannot end up like this. Get into a 3-month relationship, and then all of a sudden, are you not upset too? People, you got to help me out here. You got to help me out here. I'm begging for assistance. The information that I'm getting right now, it's unbelievable. O, again, you know who you are. K and G, you know who you are. I want to, again, my utmost respect and thanks for what you're doing. Thank you for allowing me to keep this story alive, because without the information, there will be nothing to pursue. If you haven't seen a video of me in a few days, it's because I'm sitting in front of the computer, emailing and texting and tweeting and wondering why people from Morehouse don't call me back. I thought Morehouse people was Morehouse men. You're supposed to stay together. I'm highly disappointed with our government officials, highly disappointed with our media, because the media knows and picks up on stories from South America. An American was killed. Oh, Black American? Okay, well, keep on moving. I'm sorry, but let's be real, okay? If this happened to somebody else, would it be in the news? You ask yourself, would it be in the news? So it's upsetting. Anyway, we're doing what we can. Again, I appreciate your assistance. Thank you for donating to the GoFundMe. They need it for an attorney. They need it for an interpreter, a professional interpreter there. Again, safety is of utmost importance, because if this was a hit, and I almost missed this, so before I go, another reason I believe this was a hit is because if you look at all the pictures, and I'm not even going to give out those sites because I'm not saying go look, but I had this brought to my attention by one of those initials, that to humiliate people when an assassin kills you, they pull your pants down. So they had pulled his shorts down from the back after they had murdered him. So I want you to think, was that a robbery for a gold chain? Or was that a setup? Was that a hit? That's a way for them to let you know They were there. So listen to the eyewitnesses who say this was bogus about this gold chain. Yeah, they probably stole his gold chain. Somebody may have taken his cell phone or taken his shoes just because people are trifling. But I know people are hurting. And I'm telling you guys, don't wear gold down there. If there's anything that we have learned from this, because I can't say it wasn't for the gold chain, I just don't believe it. But I got to Medellin, 2.5 weeks ago or whatever, and I get to the airport and I watch cats with gold, big face watches. I wear it here, but you better believe I leave it here. And don't wear it there and say, oh, I was just in the airport, I'm gonna put it in my safe. Don't take it with you. Don't wear gold. Don't wear anything like this young lady from 3 months. Anything that shines, don't wear it. Don't wear it. Shirts, basic shirts. Before I went down, I didn't even want a nice polo. I went and got these shirts. I got this shirt from Walmart for $5.99. I got some white V-neck t-shirts too. Nice, felt good. $5.99 from Walmart. That's how I was rolling when I got down there. Don't wear gold. Don't wear gold. Don't wear gold. But the biggest thing before you go to Colombia, and I've said this in numerous videos, the number one thing you need to do before you go to Colombia, number one, learn Spanish. Number two, learn Spanish. And number three, learn Spanish. If you cannot communicate with people, you will come out on the short end of everything. You can't even tell people stop if you don't speak any of their language. It's the same thing we think of people who come here. So learn the language before you go down, guys. Much appreciation to everyone who has offered assistance, condolences, and just support for continuing to keep this story alive. I thank you all. Please be safe.